Everyone, thanks for coming to our seminar today on Freestyle Judo officiating. My name is Steve Scott, and what we're here to do is to train you as officials and referees in the sport of Judo, specifically using the Freestyle Judo rules that we have in the Amateur Athletic Union, the AAU. Real quick background on what we've been doing. In 2008, developed a set of rules, what has kind of been now known as Freestyle Judo. It's not a new style of Judo, it's not different Judo, it's still Kodokan Judo. It's just the whole concept is allowing the athletes, allowing the coaches in the dojos to coach the full concept of what Judo is, of Kodokan Judo, and allow them to do it in a competitive situation. Often people coach based on the rules of the sport, which isn't always a good idea when you're teaching Judo as a physical education, but at Judo as a sport, we want to provide a vehicle, a tool, so that coaches could coach all the phases of Judo and allow the kids or adults, whomever is competing, to do it on the mat. So we have a set of rules that will allow this. That's what's involved in the Freestyle Judo rules. We started in 2008, in October of 2008, at several experimental tournaments in the Kansas City area. And then in 2009, we said, we'll launch this, give it a shot nationally. The AAU has been very good to us in giving us support. They provide the insurance, and through their AAU Judo Committee, Norm Miller's the national chairman, been very supportive to what we're doing. What this is Judo. When you see a Freestyle Judo match, just like Vincente's father said, he said, what's the difference? This is Judo. He said, that's the point. That's the point. It is just Judo, okay? We start them out, bow, hajime, the whole thing, just like you know, okay? Our job as a referee, I kind of stole this from wrestling because I have a strong Sambo background and wrestling background. If we referees approach a match like a wrestling or Sambo referee does, we're out of the picture. We're not out of the picture totally. We're managing the match. We're making sure it's safely done and fairly done. We're providing safe, objective officiating. We want to prevent injuries. That's a big job. I've officiated a lot of sports, football, wrestling, basketball, and one of the things we always do is make a fair call and make sure the match is safe. And so we stress that. So anyway, the match would start, you know, normally, hajime, we have the same calls, all that's the same, okay? No hand gestures. The very old days, they go, hajime. We don't do that. We bow to each other, hajime. Step out of the picture, make yourself present to officiate the match, okay? So that's the procedure. They still come on the mat, they bow, they're ready to go. Same as any other Judo tournament in the world, all right? Now, where we get a difference is when we call the points. And ippon is still an ippon. We'll start with the point structure, okay? Ippon. Now, you notice I'm wearing red or white. You may have, I'll step out here secondly. I may choose to wear this. Now, the AAU referees often wear a shirt like this, but you don't have to. You can be in a white shirt. You know, have AAU logo or no logo at all. Just look professional. And wear, you know, a white polo shirt, some type of polo shirt. Don't just show up in shorts and, you know, a t-shirt that says, you know, Hawaiian surfing or something. You know, look professional. And generally the dark pants or khaki pants, the referee shirt or a white shirt. And we have bands if you choose to wear them. Now it may be red and blue or red and white or blue and white, depending on, like at our nationals this last year, James Wall had blue and white, okay? And in Kansas City, we picked this up from when I used to travel a lot in Europe. They always did red and white. So it doesn't matter. One athlete will be wearing a white belt. One athlete will be wearing either a red belt or a blue belt for color purposes. They don't have to wear a blue gi or a white gi, okay? Judo doesn't need to be that expensive. It's just as long as a standard Judo gi that meets all the same requirements as the International Federation or other organizations, just as long as it's a legal Judo gi. And we don't care the color, really. It could be any color we choose. It doesn't matter, okay? You can have two guys in blue gis, two guys in white. It doesn't matter to us, all right? So that's the bands. I'm not going to use them right now because I do have the shirt on. But if I didn't have the shirt or I chose to wear it, I might have a red band and a white band, all right? So we have that. When I make the calls, ippon, if red through white, ippon, soremare. Just like any other rule, but I'm holding up the red side, aren't I? Now, to make sure, because we have a lot of volunteers, mainly volunteers who are working the table, I'll say, Ippon, red, soremare, just to make sure. That's a good idea in any judo match. Ippon, white, soremare. Okay? We know. Ippon, 4 white, the match is over. Remember, always call soremare after you call Ippon. Means the match is over. Standard as any judo rules. We have them here too. All right? Our side referees, our side judges, walk about the mat. Okay, think about basketball officiating. I used to officiate, we had the triangulation deal. You know, if 3 of us are working, or another, me and another official working, I never block his view. Okay, so if I'm the center official and we have 2 guys roving around, they're always making sure they're on opposite sides of the mat so they get another set of eyeballs on that different view from mine. So we may have an official here, maybe an official there. I'm working it here, I'm working it here, I'm looking at it. They're constantly shifting their movement too, so they can constantly get a good view of the action. That's for safety, and that's for objectivity. I have 3 sets of eyeballs working here, and we're all getting a different view, but we're all looking at the same thing. Okay? I'm the guy in the center. I'm still calling the match. That's my responsibility and authority. Okay? The 2 side roving officials, they don't make the calls. Now, if they disagree with the call, they can come in and you know, they don't have to make a big deal of it. If I don't see them, they can come up and tap me and say, you know, first, let's say you and another person of the side judges roving about, and I call, you know, Wazari or 4 points, and you think, no, it's Ippon, okay? And you want to overrule me. Well, that's still the rule of 3, we'll overrule. And you look at the other side, judge, oh, it was Ippon, okay. So, and I'm going on, I'm thinking it's Wazari. You would come up and approach to me and say, hey, Steve, we overruled you, we think Ippon. Okay, it's Ippon, best 2 out of 3. Then I'll act appropriately. That's when you can come on and say something as a side official. Another thing about officiating, guys, watch both athletes, you know. Don't just watch one, don't just call a match based on what one person's doing. If they go to the ground, don't stand back here and study it. Don't get so close that you're in the middle of the action, that one of them could tumble on you. But get down there and look. Is that, I want to see, and the other 2 guys, they're coming around here so they get a good view too. So you might see me down here on my knees getting a better view because I want to see what's going on here. Okay? If we in Newaza, or any type of a ground situation, and one athlete gets another one in a really good choke, good lapel choke, and the other guy, he's not giving up. Man, my sensei said, if I tap out, I'm a sissy. Well, buddy, I'll make you a sissy because I'm going to tap you out. And here's the deal. I see this as my job as the official. I'm there for his safety. Think about this boxing or MMA. Is an MMA referee allowed to stop the fight for the fighter's safety? You bet. Is a boxing referee allowed to stop the fight for the fighter's safety? You bet. Okay? Me too. Me too. I'm there. I'm watching. Those are potentially dangerous situations. You got one guy choking the other guy, which could cause serious injury. We know this. All right? As I see that as a referee, and this guy is not giving up, I'm going to be talking to that guy. So let's say red's on the bottom, and white's working him over pretty darn good. And he's got that nice sliding lapel choke, and man, he's working him. And I'm seeing to white, I'm saying, you good? You with us? And he, you know, and if I see the eyes flutter, and I see he starts to get, you know, the little look, see the color in the lips, Ippon, soremare. He won by Shimewaza. I don't have to wait for a tap out. Okay? Ippon is Ippon, still going to be called Ippon. But now when we get to the world of Wazari, okay? Wazari. Now remember, we know traditionally Wazari is from here. Wazari, okay? Now, we start out, instead of calling Wazari, now 2 Wazaris do not make Ippon in freestyle judo. It's just 4 points. Wazari means almost a technique. Waza-ari, okay? That means it's almost a technique, almost a full point. It's almost complete. Now, some time ago, it wasn't used. Wazaris were just wazaris, and you could have a number of them. And then the rules changed through the years. In the 30s, I think, they started with 2 wazaris made ippon. Well, to us, it's almost a technique. It's not quite ippon. It doesn't make 2 wazaris do not make ippon. Okay? It's worth 4 points. So we use the numerical structure here because people can understand, kids can understand, parents can understand, athletes can understand a score of 7 to 4. Okay? And it's accumulative. You know, I mean, these points accumulate. Now, if ippon is ippon, wazari, you can call wazari, you can call wazari 4 points red, wazari 4 points white. Or, my preference is 4 points red, 4 points white. They think, well, I still want to have the word. I still want to have the gesture. Well, it makes it longer and a little more complicated. But in your area, if that's more accepted, do it. That's okay. Now, at the Nationals, we're still going to be calling this or this. But does that make sense to everybody? So, you know, help your area out. If the people who come to your tournament say, well, it looks too much like wrestling. Okay, wazari, 4 points. That's right. That's right. 4 points. Yeah, that's fine. You know. Now, so the next level, yuko. All right. Now, 2 points. 4, 2, 1. Ippon 4, wazari. Yuko 2. Koka. Remember the old days of koka? Okay. I remember when they were changed. Ed, you and I remember. Jerry, you and I remember. There weren't things kokas before then, and the kokas were made a huge difference in judo, and I think for the better, actually. You know. But we'll get to that in a moment. So yuko, 2 points. Red. Yuko, 2 points white. 2 points white. 2 points red. The equivalent to a yuko throw. Period. Okay, that's pretty easy. So we've got ippon. Ippon is a throw with control, largely on the back. It doesn't have to be flat on the back. Largely on the back with control and force. No soft rolling ippons. Okay? That doesn't mean you have to knock somebody cold. You know, 2 6-year-olds don't have to make a big boom. Okay, they're little bitty bodies. Just as long as all control, force, and impetus, you know, that type of thing. We want to make sure it's hard enough, but it is still ippon. All right, wazari is anything less than that. Okay, all right, yuko is anything less than that. Same as any other judo rules. All right. Now the 1-pointers, we're getting into a whole new area here that will make that. This is what makes us different quite a bit from the judo rules as we know now. Okay. And especially in relation to the newaza, the ground fighting. But let's start with the basics here. A koka is worth 1 point. Now in Kansas City, we call 1 point red, 1 point white. You can call koka 1 point. Give a signal, whatever, 1 point. Koka 1 point, white or red, whatever it may be here. Or you can do that, okay? By the way, Ed's holding up one finger. I got in the habit of, when I was officiating a lot of wrestling, the international wrestling, in Sambo we start with our thumb. If you're going to start with a thumb, okay, we all started with sucking our thumbs, just keep it up, okay? All right, but 1, 2, 4, ippon. And if you start with a thumb, that's how I do. You want to do 1 point, that's okay, I don't care, you know, but that's how it always worked for me, all right? And I'm in the habit of doing that and just because of my wrestling officiating background too. So, that being said. Okay, so we've got that, but it could be a koka. A koka is, remember the old days throwing him kind of on his buttocks? Not quite yuko. You know, yuko is more on the side of the back, okay? By the way, we have on our website, we got the rules on our website, right, Vincente? Okay, so we have a complete set of freestyle judo rules on our website at freestylejudo.org, freestylejudo.org. Back to the koka. Koka 1 point, koka 1 point, okay? 1 point. Now, another thing that were initially in the rules of judo that helped make it more objective, which we've kept in freestyle judo, is if you throw someone and they land on their front torso, not on hands and knees or not on elbows and knees, but on the torso, okay, that is a koka. That initially was a koka back in 72 when I think they changed the rules, 73, whatever it was. What's that?
I believe it was 73, 74.
Yeah, about 73, 74. And they made the rule changes and they took it out after a while. But I think they should have left it in because it did help make the match more objective and give another avenue for scoring. the more chances we have to give them to score points, the less I have to be intrusive and with my subjectivity. As an official, I find it very nice to have an objective set of criteria that I know I can fall on. That now I'm still going to call them as I see them. That's subjective. That's we're human beings. But if I have a good set of criteria that objectively is laid out as an official, I'm going to call a better, safer match, a more fair match. So that's what I'm trying to do. So that's why we still have the throw on the torso. It's a 1-point move. It could be a coca, but it's if you want to call coca, fine. It's 1 point. But that's what it is on that front, okay? They have to get a hold of each other before they try a technique. I think if this had been written in the rules and enforced a long time ago, we wouldn't have had a lot of problems in judo, okay? We're seeing a lot of guys come out here and they drop and they grab an ankle, or they shoot a single or double, boom, you know. No, he has to grab the guy before he attacks him. This is what makes judo different from wrestling. Okay?
Or 2 hands.
Both hands, both hands. And the thing is, if I just, no, that's not good enough. Or if I just do, and then go. I have to get a grip first. Now, if we're gripping and I get my grip here, and then he does something, pulls away, then I can do a move, we're good. Because that's continuous action, isn't it? I started with a grip. I have to start with a grip.
So I can't just dive in for a Morote Gari.
Correct. I can do Morote Gari, but I have to start from a grip. I always say that's the difference between Morote Gari and a double leg takedown. Because Morote Gari is often, go ahead and stand and just relax. Is Morote Gari here, shoot, right? Come under. Double leg takedown is just a shoot. That's the difference between a throw and a shoot. So we want to make sure they're really doing good, skillful judo, because how many times have we seen White's ahead, Scott's ahead by, let's say in freestyle, so many points, 7 points, and he's got 6. We have 30 seconds left in the match. To kill time, he just drops and he grabs something. He's allowed to do that in wrestling. In Sambo, he's allowed to do that. But that's clearly, he's killing time, isn't he? He's doing everything to avoid. That's not a good aggressive maneuver. So we want to discourage that, okay? So we want to keep the element of just dropping and shooting out of it, or shoot and drop, to make sure it's more of a throw. So we have to actually grab and try a technique, okay? And that's what maybe upsets some people, but we see really good judo because of that. We see good standing judo because of that. We do. And it's worked. We initiated this rule a number of years ago, and we see better throwing techniques, not just guys dropping and shooting.
So Steve, just so I'm clear, if we go for grips, I get a collar, that leg is sticking out there. I go for an ankle.
We want you to have both hands on them initially. Yeah, right. The
So
reason
I have to
is,
be here on
yeah,
the jacket, both hands.
right.
And then before I can go for my ankle.
Right, yeah. But let's say, grab again, both hands on him. He pulls that arm back and you lost it. Now you can shoot. Go for it. Because you initially had 2 hands on him, didn't you?
Right.
So what that does is makes you have to grip a little better. Both of you. It forces them to do better judo. Yes, sir?
Do you have to have a grip for a specific amount of time before you can...
I just have to see. Now, that's a good point. This is not a grip. A touch and go, don't go. Remember that phrase, kind of touch and go, don't go. But grip, and once I grip, I have every intention of doing a Morote Gari on him, all right? And I may be doing it from way back here. But I gripped, then I can shoot, sure. But I've got that grip first. Now again, he may disengage, and in the course of the action flowing, I no longer have 2 hands on him, but I have 1, or he may pop it free totally. But I gripped initially. And that keeps it from just becoming another form of wrestling. It's now judo. Has to be a legit grip, yeah. And again, the grips are all the same. If I here, I can't do, I can't just hold here, I can't. But we do allow the pistol grip. We allow the pistol grip, and as long as I'm not defending it. As a referee, if I see this is what I'm looking for.
RJF rules are now stats.
They go for that now?
Yeah, you can't. You just can't defend with it. You can
Yeah.
throw it.
If I see and I'm working with this, sure, I'm working it. But if I see this to avoid, that's passivity. Yeah. Same thing, yeah. We allow belt grips as long as I'm working them. If I'm doing this to avoid by grabbing the belt, again, I'm looking for the arm length here. If I'm trying moves here, trying to throw, Sure. Okay? I can grab legs too. I can grab pants. So Morote-gari, Teguruma, Kataguruma, Sukui-nagi, they're all legal. But again, we have to grab first and then go. Okay? Pulling guard. We have a lot of great BJJ guys doing our sport. We love them. But they can't just come out and pull guard or jump to guard. They have to try a throw. It has to be a throw. So please, if you're BJJ, make it look like a throw. I tell the guys, fool me. I want to be fooled. Please, make me believe in you. Okay.
So do I see that cross grips and double grips and everything are all legal too?
All legal. All legal. Yeah. Now,
So what those look like this grip.
yeah, I can do 2-on-1. Yeah, as long as I'm active. If I'm stiff and avoiding, then you're in trouble. Yeah. 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 If you come in, yeah, you can attack with it. You can attack with it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. But again, jumping guard, pulling guard, make it look like a throw first. Okay? There are a lot of ways to do that. It's just, fake a tomoe-nagi. Yeah, there you go. Make it look good. Guys, and I tell them before freestyle tournaments, I get a mixed crowd of BJJ, submission judo guys, and I tell them, and so you tell them the same. Please, fool me. Make it look good. I want to give you the point. I'm not cheating the other guy, but I want to give you the benefit of the doubt, but leave no doubt. Okay, that's the important thing. Don't pop out and pull guards, butt scoot, and all that stuff. That don't go.
Well, even BJJ is.
I think they've regulated against that. You BJJ guys, they're not butt scooting a lot anymore like they're doing, right? Depends on the different groups. Yeah, okay. But it's never been in judo, and it's always one of those things that Kano himself was very adamant about, that we want to throw to get to the ground. We want a throwing technique to get to the ground. He favored throwing techniques. Scott and I were talking about this earlier today or yesterday. His preference was for nagewaza, throwing techniques. It was. And as a result, a lot of people have misinterpreted that's all judo should be. No, judo, through Kano's efforts, developed a very sophisticated form of newaza, ground fighting. Thanks, guys. You can sit down if you want to. Thank you. And that was the start of it. Everything we see in Brazilian jiu-jitsu and sambo, I love sambo. It's been a passion of mine for years as well. Everything we've seen in that started with judo, and there's no doubt about it. It's gone another direction in those various sports, which is wonderful. But Kano, give Kano credit for newaza as well. So it's not just a throwing sport, okay? I mean, there are throwing sports out there. If you've ever seen Mongolian wrestling, which is really cool, that's just a throwing sport. And but it has no ground fighting. But give judo credit for what it really started. So let's do it as freestyle judo rules. Yes, Jim.
On legal gripping and throws.
Yes, sir.
Kani Basami?
Kani Basami is still not legal. Jerry and I talk about that often. Well, a lot of people do. I've actually seen some pretty bad injuries from Kani Basami, physically. I've actually been the recipient of a bad injury from Kani. Same as Kawazugaki. Yeah. Those are all legal in sambo, but the scissors throw, the crab scissors, I have seen guys' knees taken out pretty badly. That's why they changed that rule. It's for safety, and we're still staying with that because we know it is some. I'd rather err on the side of caution.
Double knee drop?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm sure there's certain places in the United States that don't allow that.
Yeah, there are. Some do, some don't.
It's a legit throw. So double knee drop seoi-nage is absolutely.
Well, they take it out of the junior division.
Well, that's somebody else. We haven't.
Knee-wise.
Yeah, we haven't. That's a particular bias toward people wanting to have a certain look to judo.
I agree.
I don't want to. Oh yeah, but I don't want to give that bias in our rules. There are some things that we do not allow because of injuries, safety. Okay, and I'm cool with that. But generally, freestyle judo, and it kind of went to this name. Freestyle doesn't mean anything goes, but you're free to do as much judo as you want to do. Now if something is dangerous, we don't do it. But and we will address it if we see something like that. Like uchimata and diving on the head. The reason that occurred back in about 1980 or so, we had several broken necks because of that. That's a good rule. To dive on your head when you're doing uchimata is not a smart thing to do for your health. when you're thrown and a guy bridges out top of his head and his feet, you know, that's ippon, whether he likes it or not. Because if you bridge, there were broken necks because of that. So there's certain things we don't, you know, because of that. There's strictly, and Connie Basami's in that realm because there was a while that there were some pretty bad injuries actually because of that. And we still, so it's in the old rules a koka, either on the buttocks or on the torso. Okay. Now, if he lands elbows and knees, it's not a point. I don't have enough control of him. He stopped the control of my throwing move. Again, we have the two guys out here. Scott, would you please? All right. So I've got here. He's red. He's white for purposes here. All right. Now, hajime, they bow, they hold the whole thing, and they come out. Now, here's the deal. They have to get a hold of each other before they try a technique. I think if this had been written in the rules and enforced a long time ago, we wouldn't have had a lot of problems in judo. Okay? We're seeing a lot of guys come out here and they drop and they grab an ankle or they shoot a single or double. Boom, you know. No, he has to grab the guy before he attacks him. This is what makes judo different from wrestling. Okay?
Or 2 hands.
Both hands. Both hands. And the thing is, if I just, that's not good enough. Or if I just do and then go. I have to get a grip first. Now, if we're gripping and I get my grip here, and then he does something, pulls away, then I can do a move, we're good. Because that's continuous action, isn't it? I started with a grip. I have to start with a grip.
So I can't just dive in for a Morote Gari.
Correct. I can do Morote Gari, but I have to start from a grip. I always say that's the difference between Morote Gari and a double leg takedown. Because Morote Gari is often, go ahead and stand up, just relax. Is Morote Gari here, shoot, right? Come under. Double leg takedown is just a shoot. That's the difference between a throw and a shoot. So we want to make sure they're really doing good, skillful judo, because how many times have we seen White's ahead, Scott's ahead by, let's say, in freestyle, so many points, 7 points, and he's got 6. We have 30 seconds left in the match. To kill time, he just drops and he grabs something. He's allowed to do that in wrestling. In Sambo, he's allowed to do that. But that's clearly, he's killing time, isn't he? He's doing everything to avoid. That's not a good aggressive maneuver. So we want to discourage that. Okay? So we want to keep the element of just dropping and shooting out of it, or shoot and drop, to make sure it's more of a throw. So we have to actually grab and try a technique. Okay? And that's what maybe upsets some people, but we see really good judo because of that. We see good standing judo because of that. We do. And it's worked. We initiated this rule a number of years ago, and we see better throwing techniques, not just guys dropping and shooting.
So Steve, just so I'm clear, if we go for grips, I get a collar, that leg is sticking out there. I go for an ankle.
We want you to have both hands on and initiate. Yeah, right. The reason
I have to
is,
be here on the jacket, both hands.
Right.
And then before I can go for my ankle.
Right, yeah. But let's say, grab again, both hands on him. He pulls that arm back and you lost it. Now you can shoot. Go for it. Because you initially had 2 hands on him, didn't you?
Right.
So what that does is makes you have to grip a little better. Both of you. It forces them to do better judo. Yes, sir?
You have to have the grip first because of the amount of time before you can.
I just have to see. Now, that's a good point. This is not a grip. A touch and go, don't go. Remember that phrase, kind of touch and go, don't go. But grip, and once I grip, I have every intention of doing a Morote Gari on him, all right? And I may be doing it from way back here. But I gripped, then I can shoot, sure. But I've got that grip first. Now, again, he may disengage, and in the course of the action flowing, I no longer have 2 hands on him, but I have 1, or he may pop it free totally. But I gripped initially. And that keeps it from just becoming another form of wrestling. It's now judo. Has to be a legit grip, yeah. And again, the grips are all the same. If I here, I can't do, I can't just hold here, I can't. But we do allow the pistol grip. We allow the pistol grip, and as long as I'm not defending it. As a referee, if I see this is what I'm looking for.
RJF rules are now stats.
They go for that now?
Yeah, you can't. You just can't defend with it. You can
Yeah.
throw it.
If I see and I'm working with this, sure, I'm working it. But if I see this to avoid, that's passivity. Yeah. Same thing, yeah. We allow belt grips as long as I'm working them. If I'm doing this to avoid by grabbing the belt, again, I'm looking for the arm length here. If I'm trying moves here, you know, trying to throw, sure, okay? I can grab legs too. I can grab pants. So Morotegari, Teguruma, Kataguruma, Sukui Nagi, they're all legal. But again, we have to grab first and then go, okay? Pulling guard. We have a lot of great BJJ guys doing our sport. We love them, but they can't just come out and pull guard or jump to guard. They have to try a throw. It has to be a throw. So please, if you're a BJJ, make it look like a throw. I tell the guys, fool me. I want to be fooled. Please, you know, make me believe in you. Okay.
So did I see that cross grips and double grips and everything are all legal too?
All legal. All legal. Yeah. So we've got Ippon. Ippon is a throw with control, largely on the back. It doesn't have to be flat on the back. Largely on the back with control and force. No soft rolling Ippons. Okay. That doesn't mean you have to knock somebody cold. You know, 2 6-year-olds don't have to make a big boom. Okay. They're little bitty bodies. Just as long as all control, force, and impetus, you know, that type of thing, we want to make sure it's hard enough, but it is still Ippon. All right. Wazari is anything less than that. Okay. All right. Yuko is anything less than that. Same as any other judo rules. All right. Now, the one-pointers, we're getting into a whole new area here that will make that this is what makes us different quite a bit from the judo rules as we know now. Okay. And especially in relation to the newaza, the ground fighting. But let's start with the basics here. A koka is worth 1 point. Now in Kansas City, we call 1 point red, 1 point white. You can call koka 1 point. Give a signal, whatever, 1 point. Koka 1 point, white or red, whatever it may be here. All right, but 1, 2, 4, Ippon. Say I throw him and he lands on his buttocks. We good? Okay, so I throw him, bam, he lands on his buttocks. Boom, just like there. There's a koka, you know, or boom, there's a koka. I might have foot swept him. Bam, knocked him down, koka, all right? Or I might have foot swept him, and just go to your torso front. Bam, foot. Boy, that was a dramatic one. But let's say I foot swept him, boom, and he goes down, boom, like that. You know, I had a control there. I threw him, but I didn't throw him onto his back. So yeah, don't you think you should get credit for throwing the man? I mean, really, it makes sense. Well, that's what it was. There was the 1 point, koka, 1 point for the throw, okay? That helps things a lot for us as referees. It really does. And it gives another level of criteria that's objective, okay? All right. So what we're doing now is allowing more newaza, more ground fighting, a little more technical things can happen there. Not that pinning is not a technical thing, don't get me wrong, but this allows a little more ground fighting time too. So, osaikomi, I'm holding my hand out. We like to see you hold your hand out. In judo now, they pull it back, okay? Do they do that now, you guys? Do they pull it back anymore? Osaikomi,
No, you hold it out.
they still hold it out? Okay, because I have not done IGF judo in a number of years. But we prefer to have you continue to hold that out. If it's red, your red hand's out.
To continue for the whole pin.
Yeah, just so everybody knows,
Oh, we don't do that.
we've got it working.
You hold it out there for about 3 to 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, and we do this because now everybody knows what's going on. There's osaikomi in progress here, okay? And I picked that up off Sambo because now the referee is letting everybody know I'm making this call. You know, it could be this one, it could be white, you know, and I'm making this call. So that's a good thing to do. That's we don't really get hard at it that you have to do it. If you want to pull it back, you're used to it, okay, but make sure that the osai, and this way everybody knows, the coaches, everybody knows the osaikomi is still in effect, right? When it's not in effect and he escapes, toketa, So it's like this. He's holding. The guy gets out before 20 seconds is up. Toketa. Get the time on it. The time equivalency. Then you make the call. And the clock's going to tell you. Yes, there is a separate Osai time clock. Yes, yes. Upon initiation of control, let me think, going back on memory here. If it's the full 20 seconds, it is worth 4 points. Okay. If it is 10 seconds, it is worth 2 points. If you got initiation control to 5 seconds, it is worth 1 point. Okay. So it's 4, 2, and 1. 20, 10, and 5.
I'm curious. I watched a couple of kids that, especially the kids that do the pin. Well, they weren't kids; they were adults, but they do the pin, and they got the 4 points, and then the referee said, "Submit."
Yes, we're going to talk about that.
What the kid did is the one that was dominant flipped over the other kid, rolled him completely over himself, put him back into another pin.
Well, that's because, let's talk about that in a minute. That's a great question. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm the referee, and let's just say red is holding, Osai Komi. And I've got this, and now I'm watching the clock, or they're okay, and I see that 4 points. Now, if you want to call Wazari, okay, Wazari, or 4 points, red, go for your submission. Now, he is required, red, who is holding white, is required to try to do a choke or an arm lock on him to finish the match. He got his 4 points. Let's say he threw him. He got 4 points for the throw. So he's 4 points up. Okay, then he got 4 points. So he's 8 up now. He's 8 points to the other guy's nothing or whatever it may be before. So he's just scored 8 points. Now I'm telling him as the referee, go for your submission. Okay, after the 20 seconds are up. Now if he stands up, no man, I want you to do some newaza. That's why we made this rule. So you continue to do some newaza here to try to finish it off. Make it, try to finish the opponent off. Remember the original concept of Osai Komi? I know I'm being a geek on this. Osai Komi means to immobilize an opponent. The Osai. And the Komi is the actual application of that immobilization. And the purpose of immobilizing an opponent is what? In a real fight, do you just, okay, I won that fight, I stand up. No, the idea is then to go on for some other finishing move. That's the original concept. What's wrong with that? That's pretty cool. And it makes our guys better at newaza too when they have that. So that's what you're doing here, guys.
Why would I even bother getting points? Why wouldn't I just go for it?
Yeah, well, you could just go for the, you go for the submission. Yeah,
That's not the case for the kids, right?
Not the kids. The kids we have there. Thank you for bringing that up. So, and let's diverge here a little bit. In kids rules, now we allow in AAU judo chokes from 11 and up. Okay, 11 and up. Okay, and shimewaza, and kensetsu waza ages 15 and up, or anyone in a senior weight class. If you're a 14-year-old and you're a stud, and you're fighting the men in the men's whatever 165-pound class or 178, wherever you are, you're fighting under senior rules now. We don't dumb down the rules for kids, and I'm not saying we're dumbing down the rules, but we don't, modify them. You're fighting as an adult. You fight under adult rules, so that's one thing. But, excuse me, if we do have 2 kids, and I say 2 9-year-olds, right, and they're competing, we still allow them because they can't choke and they can't arm lock, can they? They can throw, so we're going to give them another way to win on the ground. They can hold for 25 seconds, then you can hold for ippon if you're in the junior rules. Okay.
And 20 is still a Wazari.
20 would be the Wazari, 10 would be the Yuko, 5 would be the Koka. Yeah. So kids do have 2 ways to win, throwing and ground, if they're not allowed to choke.
So from 11 up is one thing, and 10 and below.
Yeah, and say we've got 2 12-year-olds. Now they can choke, but they can't arm lock. Okay. So they have now throws, they can hold for ippon, they can choke for ippon. So we have 3 ways they can do ippon now. Now, when we get to 15 and over, then we do the senior rules.
So when you get the arm bar, you lose the pin, basically.
Well, yeah. Let's say you've held them you got your 4 points, right? I say, red, go for your submission. Right. Okay. Well, you've got your points. That's all you're going to get. You're not going to get any more 4 points for the holdout. Go for your submission, and that's what we want you to do. Now, directly to Ed's question, what happened maybe, the guy tried the submission and it didn't work. And the other guy got out. Well, if that's the case, I lost control, say red lost control of white. He tried to get the submission, but white went back to they had a scramble basically. And now it's anybody's game. And now we're back to square. Okay, so if I break him down again, I may get a point for a breakdown. I can stick him into a pin again and get 4 more points for my hold down. So that's what happened in that situation, I'm sure. That he tried the submission. Well, maybe to you, but that's what happened. That's why they're officials and you have an opinion off the side of the mat. All right. So, but that's probably how the officials called it. So that could happen. So we would want you to go for a choke or an arm lock after that and try to, and if it didn't work and they scrambled out, it didn't. But we want them to be aggressive in the Newaza. That's why we made that rule. Yes, sir. Anthony.
I just had a question. If a lot of times in national judo, you see the guy, they throw him, they go to the ground, they just stand back up. Is there a penalty for
Not necessarily. If I choose to throw you and I don't want to engage, then I know I'm beating you on standing. Yes, there's no penalty for that. I'm not required to go to the mat from a throw. You know, and because I may have just a few seconds left, and I know you are an animal on arm locks. I don't want any part of you on the ground, and I know I'm up by 2 points or something, and I knock you down. Oh man, I'm staying away. I understand that. That's part of the tactics of it. You know, now if I'm running away from you, that's another thing. But if I'm playing it smart, yeah. So we still want the full range of tactics to be used as well, and that would be a clear example of that.
So it's okay if they're on the ground, the guy knows and not doing well.
Yeah, I can stand up. Yeah, that's right. If he knows I'm just not beating this guy and I only got so much time left, I know I can throw him, I think, then yeah, we're going to stand up. But once you from the osaikomi, we want you to try to go for a finishing hold, shime or arm lock, kensetsu waza. So that's that. But let's talk about points for ground fighting now. This is where we make a difference. But specifically turning a man over or breaking him down from a stable to an unstable position, we haven't named that. We haven't given that any point value even. But those are legitimate judo techniques. And like Vincente and I were talking about earlier, think of it this way. If we're on the ground and we're doing Newaza, and come on over here. And he's on elbows and knees. Have your head facing Scott. There you go. And if he's on elbows and knees, okay, and I take him from a stable to an unstable position, think of this like a throw, only on the ground. Okay, because that's what we're doing in standing throwing, aren't we? We're taking from stable to unstable. We're using kuzushi, sukure, kake, and then finish him off with kime, the follow through. Well, that's what I'm doing here in Newaza as well. So bam, he's down here. I do the far arm, I do the near leg, follow up, bam. I just turned him from a nice happy position he thought he had onto his back. So I took from stable to unstable. Well, that's worth something, we think.
And you don't have to control them at the end.
Don't have to. We're going to talk about that. Good point. At the end, you don't have to, and we're going to talk about that. Yeah. But so I took him. I just happened to follow with the, in a osaikomi. You had a question? Okay. So that was worth something, just like a throw. I may have thrown him for a yuko, and wasn't able maybe to follow up with a osaikomi or something, but it had value. So this does too. Okay. Any time I take him from stable to unstable. Here's another position. That's worth 1 point. So if you want to call koka red, koka white, 1 point red, 1 point white. Again, in Kansas City, we call the point numerical value, and that would be that. Why do we do that? Because it gives another level of objective evaluation of this match. Okay? It takes a little less of my subjectivity out and forces me as an official to make a very clear objective call. This has value, and I have to assign that value to it. And that's the point of doing this. Okay? So that's what this is about in doing points for breakdowns. I call them breakdowns because you're breaking them down from a stable to unstable. Call them turnovers if you wish, that's fine, but it doesn't always address the things that happen. Here's another thing that isn't traditionally called a turnover. I'm going to do from the bottom, like guard position. I'm going to spin you over. No, I'm going to beat it. I'm doing. So this is worth 1 point. Okay, the 1 point. All right, so I'm here. All right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to spin under, you do a jujigatami. Okay. So I may be a real jujigatami guy, which I happen to like a lot. Okay, grab here, I spin under, I roll him over. Now, was he stable just a few seconds ago? Is he stable now? No. That's worth a point, isn't it? here's a good judo technique. I took it from stable to unstable. Now, if I can continue on to juji, I'm there as a referee to make that call. He may be fighting this like crazy, and I didn't, but I still took him from stable to unstable. I may go to a osekomi, something else. So there's a clear situation. Thank you. Just stick around here when we use you. There's a clear situation taking from stable to unstable. That is a breakdown. That's worth a point. Okay? So that's why you can fight off your back. Remember the phrase newaza? We all think it means ground fighting. You know what newaza really means? Ne is to be in a reclining position. Waza is technique. So what the Brazilians call the guard was originally called newaza. It started from this. This was the original ground fighting in judo. When we saw a lot of more wrestling and sambo stuff, and we saw more of the elbows and knees, this is what we saw a lot in the old days. Turning him to his back somehow is going to be Jeff, what you're getting, that's going to be the validation that takes it from stable to unstable. Yeah, for the breakdown. Because that also left a lot of gray area there, because I may just have one hook in, like a near leg ride, and pop them down, and I look for the referee for that. No, because you'll see that a lot of wrestlers will do that will think they can get a point. And no, we want them more complete. So by getting them onto the back, then we have that validation
So in
there.
other words,
And I'll follow up, then I'll get you to Scott.
If I break somebody down and he lands in, let's say, a yuko position, he's got to be in at least the wazari position.
It's got to be, yeah, pretty close. So if that's where I will get back to you. So I've taken him over from stable to unstable, bam, there, okay, that's enough of a turn, but come back up higher. I haven't got him quite yet.
Okay.
I haven't got. So I'm the referee, and that's where you have to stay awake if you're a freestyle judo referee, because that is worth something there. And I got to get him over more completely to show control. It isn't showing back control, it's showing control in a judo sense.
So would you then say that it would have to be the equivalent of a wazari?
Probably close to it, Jerry. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. To get him more onto his back. Yeah, but a good clean turn onto the back, we're going to give a point for that. That has a point value. And I think that's a good way to put it too. Scott, you had a question.
I wanted to know what Sensei LaFon is discussing. What does it look like in clarification? Does it or does it not score a point?
Yes.
Show us what he was asking. What does it look like?
Oh, well, what doesn't score a point, I'm going to do a forearm near leg breakdown. I'm just going to be on elbows, All right, so I'm going to take him over, and I just get him to here, and that's not enough. That's not enough. There, I've got him. That's 1 point. Now, I don't necessarily have to lead directly into osekomi. It doesn't always result into a pin. He may be a very good athlete or whatever. Circumstances happen. He scrunches out. He gets out of trouble. It might not necessarily always lead to osekomi. It could, and often does. I break a guy down, 1 point red, osekomi, because he stuck him into a pin. So you may as a referee, have to be ready to make that call. Here's what it would look like. Let's say one guy turns the other. You're good. We see one guy turn the other one, breaking him down onto his back. Let's say red is doing it to white. Okay. 1 point red, or coca red, 1 point, osekomi. Be ready to convert. A 1 point breakdown doesn't always lead to osekomi.
Okay, but I would get a 1 point breakdown.
You probably would, yes. If you got enough, turn them over enough.
That Turk position potentially has
And you've got them turned over,
even
yeah.
holding their
As long as we don't see injury to the, if there's no cranking of the neck, the hips, the leg, as long as that's still clean,
Okay.
then we'll give the point for it. Yeah.
Why don't you show us what that is?
Scott, Scott, let me borrow you. You're in a gi. Just get on all fours here. So if I've got him in a leg right.
Yes,
like this,
near leg right. Yep.
And I'm going to roll you this way, and I take him over this way. Boom.
Yeah. See, that's a good. You turned him. Does that look good, guys? He got him onto his back, didn't he? Now, is he pinning him? No, but he did enough. Now it extracts the leg free, then goes to no osekomi. I'm there refereeing. Say he's red, and I call red 1 point. And I'm waiting here. I'm seeing where he moves. If he can get that extraction, osekomi. Okay, so I have to be ready to make that call. If he doesn't hold, if he doesn't get a move fairly quickly, and we're giving him, 5 to 7 seconds to get that move, to get that pin, and I see it's leading nowhere, I call him mate. Stand him up. Okay? So, I mean, if it's a scramble and they're going nowhere, don't let them just keep going. I mean, on the newaza, just like standing, it has to lead to something. It has to result in something one way or the other for either one of them. And I want to see positive action. I want to see it to lead somewhere, okay? That's like I'm also an MMA judge, and I went through that training, which I would think was very valuable to me. And they stress in mixed martial arts, whatever that does, that takedown or whatever, that has to lead to something. So as a judge, as a referee, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, that move happened. Does it lead to further control? I'm going to give that, I'm going to keep that in my mind. As a judo referee, I'm doing the same thing. I'm giving him time to make it lead to something. If it doesn't, and mate, get him up. Get him up. So we're pretty good on one more point I want. Come on out here again. One thing, lay flat on your belly. Hide.
Chicken judo.
Chicken judo. When I was a coach, a young coach, coaching kids, okay, maybe you do it. I hope I don't offend anyone, but there are coaches who teach this. All right, he's here. He's safe, he thinks, okay? Well, he's not safe for me as the referee either, all right? Okay. Now, I'm going to be telling him if he's here curling up, not doing it now, momentarily, if he's here and he's trying to get out of trouble, I'm cool with that. We've all been here, okay? But if he's laying there hiding and he's not engaged, okay, he's just hiding there doing the old chicken routine, as I call it. It's a personal thing. You know, what I was going to say, I showed this to when kids did this, you know, we call it chicken judo because only chickens do this, and they're hiding from something. And so I kind of kept him from doing this, okay? You know, but if he does this, and I hope I'm not offending anyone, but if you are doing this, you are subject to being passive. This is non-combativity. Just the same as I'm bending over and not doing this. This is the equivalent of it on the ground. He doesn't want to fight me. He wants to be passive and hope I just go away, you know, and hope the referee just calls mate and gets him out of trouble. Well, it ain't going to happen. So what's going to happen to him if he does this and I'm the referee and the other guy's trying to engage, and I'll say, and we're allowed to talk to let's bring this up. As an official, I'm allowed to say to him, let's say he's wearing white in this case, White, get active. Work to a better position, White. Work hard, work hard. And if he chooses not to, all right, then I'm going to snap him with a penalty. Okay? And our penalties, in this particular case, it would be, 1 point would be the initial. I already gave him a warning. I told him, get the heck up. He's not engaging. Okay? And now I'm not going to call Mate and he wants up. I'm not going to buy into that. So he's down there hiding from me. Okay? And I'm going to say to the scoreboard, and we good on it, guys? My two side judges, oh yeah, he's hiding. All right. Passivity, 1 point red. Caution. Or that would be also, we would call that Shido. Okay? Okay. Shido is worth, was it Shido? Shido would be the freebie. I'm sorry. Shido's the freebie. Then Chewy. Okay? 1 point. Chewy, 1 point. Passivity.
So your verbal was the Shido.
Should have been Chewy. But Shido is the freebie. That was the freebie. Yeah, the freebie. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. I know where you're going now. Yeah, the first one was the Shido. That was the freebie.
Right.
And okay, and I'm talking to him, and he's not responding. Okay, the next one we're going to zap him. Okay, all right. Chewy, white, passivity, 1 point red. He's still not responding. He still won't try. Okay. I give him another 10 seconds. Now, I'm not going to give him that long because the guy's probably done something by now. Okay, they've changed positions. That's the reality of it. But let's say it hasn't, and he refuses to do judo. Okay, I'll say, Keikoku, white, 2 points red. Okay, now he just accumulated 3 points of penalties. The next one, he's done. Okay, I'm tired of this stuff. Okay, if he still won't engage, mate. Soremare, non-combativity. He doesn't want to fight. Okay? So we want you to be active. Now, we understand if you're on the bottom, yeah, we'll give you time to do something, but if you lay there and refuse to fight, not my problem. Learn more judo.
You don't call Hansokomake?
Oh, Hansokomake is what I should have said. Hansokomake, finish it. Yeah, Hansokomake and Soremare. Yeah. And that, yeah, I would call Hansokomake as the call first. Yes. Yeah. And that's what would happen. Okay, so the bottom guy you are also obligated to engage. Okay, so we want active, full participation in the sport of judo. We did that on purpose because how many times have we seen somebody do that and they're just going to kill time as long as they can on the ground doing that, hiding that stuff? Is that good active? Is that good of anything? No. And I don't want to see it in freestyle judo because it just is not good judo in my opinion. Yes, sir.
So to come back to the Shido, do you actually verbalize that? Do you say Shido white?
Yeah, I'll talk to him, and then I'll probably say Shido, you know. So, but we're also allowed to, before we call a Shido, we may have two guys engaged, like they're standing, and they're maybe too close to the edge. You know, I want them to bring it back to the center. Well, I'll talk to them. I'll say, you know, center it up, guys. Move it to the center. That's not a Shido. That's just me instructing him for safety or something. We're still allowed to talk to them, but if we're seeing something on a rule or technical thing, you know, I will then verbally warn him, and that's the first, Shido is that first warning, you know, and I may say, Shido, you know, white, get active. And he'll know, oh, I better get active. That's the freebie. The next one I have to do it.
So you're not stopping the match.
Do not stop the match. Keep it flowing. Keep it flowing. Now, if you see something that is dangerous, then stop the match.
And you can, in the center, the referee can award Hanso Kamaki without conferring.
No, we want confirmation of the other guys. We want, yeah, Hanso Kamaki has to be confirmation of all three. Yes, yes. Just like the regular rules. We want to make sure that's fair. Okay. Let's do a guard pass. Well, start on your bottom. Yeah, so he's down there. Okay, now top guy just basically gets past his legs, you know. There you go. 1 point, and he happened to go into good osaikomi, we call it. Okay, whatever the guard pass might be, it doesn't matter, you know. Or the bottom guy sweeps, might do this nice rollover. So just go ahead and sweep him. There you go. That's 1 point. 1 point white. Osaikomi. He turned it right into a pinning situation, didn't he? Can we have Scott? Can we have you again? Closing the guard. Okay.
You've got, I'll go.
Okay, from here. Okay. Now, to me, in a judo sense, I'm going to give him, just closing this is not illegal. He might be setting him up for something. It's totally cool. But if he stays there, that's passivity. You know? Now, I'm not going to say, Mate, get up. I'm going to say, unhook him. Give him a chance to do something. You know, I want him to do something. I don't want to just give him a penalty.
And he can't scissor that, right?
What's that?
He can't do what he's doing right now.
Well, yeah, he tries to scissor and cause pain. Oh, no, we can't do that. And I'm going to circumvent that by, stop it. You know?
So in this situation, I know like a lot of BJJ guys, they'll lock their feet around, but then they're working the gi, they're trying to pass the gi.
No, he's got to have those unlocked.
Okay.
He's got to be doing something. You know, that's the difference between judo and BJJ rules, because I'm going to give him a certain amount of time to do something, but I'm not going to give him all day.
So he has about 10 seconds.
He has about 10 seconds to show me he wants to do something. Well, I'm going to be chopping him. Or maybe in my mind. I'm not going to clock T, but he's got too many things going on anyway. So I'm here in this situation. Lock him up again. I'm here, and I'll say unhook, unhook, unhook. Okay. If he puts him back, then Shido. You know, I mean, you're being passive. Or if he keeps hooking and he's trying something, you know, hook up again. You know, he's hooking up again there, and I kind of missed that. You know, but he's just parking him there. I'm going to give him time to do newaza. I want him to do something positive and get up. So eventually, if nothing happens, Mate, he's not going to stay there all day.
So if he hooks his ankles and then just unhooks him to go to a move, that's okay?
Yeah, yeah. If he's doing something, yes, going to a move, absolutely okay. Absolutely.
What if I'm the one actually being passive? What if I do?
White, get active. Shido White, get active. And I'm about 10 seconds. You're not happening. You're not doing anything. Okay. Chewy White, 1 point red. I warned you, White. You know, I did.
Yeah, that brings up a good point. A lot of times, like he gets pulled down there, and this guy on top just wants to stand back up. So do
Sure.
you penalize him? If he just ducks down and wait, hey, I'm waiting for you to stand me back up.
Stand up
Guy on
quick.
top.
Let's see. I'm going to give him time to see what he's going to do. 5, 7 seconds. If he's not doing anything, he's not doing anything.
So are you penalizing him or are you standing him up?
Well, I'm going to give him time first. I want to give him time. I don't want to penalize him right off the bat. I'm not penalty happy. So I'll see there. I'll count to myself. 2, 3. White, get active. Get active, White. Now, he knows get active means stand up, too. If he's not going to get active, then we go into penalty world. Yeah.
So if he just stays here, he's going to stop.
He's being passive. He's being passive.
At that point, you stand him up after the Shido? Okay. Shido, stand
Yeah, I
up.
probably would. Yeah, because I'm tired of watching this. I mentioned everybody else is, too. It's because clearly he doesn't want to watch. He doesn't want to fight. We're going to make him. You had a question?
Yeah, as far as like in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a lot of guys at the bottom that are in guard, if they open, I, for one, will use the sleeves quite a bit.
Sure.
Is that
Absolutely legal.
okay? So, as soon as he opened his legs, instead of keeping them closed, I would just start yanking on his sleeves.
Now, can't go inside the sleeve. Can't go inside the sleeve.
At the bottom, you can't.
I would break him down that way.
Oh, and he's trying to move? Absolutely. We're engaged now. We're in a scramble. There's action happening here when this is happening. Come on out here, guys, so you can get a little better. So, I want them to engage. I don't want them to just park and hide. Yeah.
I'm trying to understand how much of my game would be limited.
Just go fast. In BJJ, don't stay on your back very long. Try to get top position. Go fast. If you think of it this way, judo is more of a top ride game, although we do a lot of newaza from the bottom, don't get me wrong. And that, it's more of a top ride game than a guard game. If you remember that from a BJJ perspective, you'll do freestyle judo better.
So if I'm on the bottom, I just want to hurry up, sweep him.
Sweep them, get up. You get a point. You might turn them into an osaikomi or submission hold. That's great. You want to get off your butt as soon as you can. Now, and that often in these newas, they're meant to lead to something, not just lay there. And that's use it for what it's worth. Anthony.
Okay, I got another question. So if he has a submission like the collar, the cross choke, and he pulls the guy down, can he lock his ankles? A lot of times BJJ guys lock their ankles and bring the guy forward.
No, like that, or to hook them.
Yeah, hook the ankles around
Yeah,
that.
that's legal. Yes. So around the legs, around the waist. Close your guard. Close your guard. Close your guard. Yeah.
Because he's using it to pull
Now,
his legs forward.
this is where I have to be a referee on my game. Okay. So while they're here, I'm going to look here. I see the choke going. I realize there's something happening here. Now, he's not letting him up, is he? This is smart. This is good technique. Now, if he starts really putting the old squeeze here, then I see, well, we got some problems.
As long as his ankles are pulling in.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. As long as I see pulling in and control, this is good technique, whether it's judo or BJJ or just a street fight. This is good.
So you allow him to have
Yeah, if he's actively, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's good. A lot of judo referees, the minute they see that lock, they think, oh, it's bad. No, we have to look for the action of the legs. And that's what I was trying to maybe explain. I didn't maybe inarticulate earlier. If I see just holding and hugging and nothing or squeezing, that's passivity, that's inaction. But if I see him trying to move a good cross choke jiu-jitsu, something, but he's tied up, you hook your ankles again. And he's got a nice cross choke going there. Oh, yeah. As long as we don't see squeezing. He's pulling and controlling. This guy wants up, he's not letting him. Hey, that's pretty good. I like that newaza. That's good stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, we do allow that. So do you understand the concept of a breakdown or a 1 point value? This really does help change the game in terms of giving us a clear, objective assessment of who's winning. Okay?
He just calls it Azari. By having a cumulative scoring system, that action of the referee is not as important.
Is not as important. Yeah.
as
It's still important, don't get us wrong, but it doesn't hold the weight of everything like it had previously. So that's one of the rule changes. That's why the numerical scores work. Well, that's not judo. Well, actually it is. They're still doing judo. It's just that this makes more sense, and we have a better chance to see two athletes compete to their fullest we also, for children and parents who are new to the sport, they know, like I said, 7-4, who's winning, okay? They know at the end of that time, you know, red had 7, white had 4, he wins the match.